Good evening. Welcome back to the Pratte Pack Gym on this cold winter night in western Pennsylvania. It is also a sad night because we have lost a music genius. He and his partner, Don Henley, were what we in America would call our answer to Lennon and McCartney. Well, Glenn Frey died today at the age of 67. And what tremendous work he and the Eagles that were founded in the early 70s have left us. And for those of us who always dreamed about California, sun and surf, well, we found out that there was a whole lot more beauty that came from that state, and it was the Eagles' music. This band that was founded by Henley and Frey in the early 70s after they were the backup band for the great Linda Ronstadt has truly carved out a piece of music history. Songs like Peaceful Easy Feeling, Hotel California, Your Lion Eyes. The list is eclectic, but that unmistakable sound and voice of Glenn Frey, almost as though it was wind whistling through the trees on an autumn day. It just had something very striking about it. And I'll say this, for someone who's been in music for 4 decades, playing it on the radio, and in my early days doing a format called album-oriented rock, I remember playing a whole lot of their songs, and I thought, how cool these guys from California could wear flannel shirts and cowboy boots and Levi jeans and just rock the room. And even if it was a 50 or 60,000 seat arena, there was always that intimate setting about them. But one of the things that really stands out about them, I was in my early 20s when they released Please Come Home for Christmas, which has become a Christmas standard. And I was so excited because someone of our generation had put a Christmas song out that I knew someday when I would reach, as I am now, 58 years of age, it would be a standard. And I would be able to share it with my children, just as my parents shared some of the great Christmas music that we still hear today from people like Frank Sinatra, Rosemary Clooney, Bing Crosby. Glenn Frey obviously did a whole lot more than just music. He was a guy who believed in the greater good, always paying it forward. He was always involved in some sort of cause. And what I loved about him, just when you thought the guy with that shoulder-length hair and the cool mustache had done it all, he simply reinvented himself in the 80s, was a part of the whole Pink Flamingo fad. Miami Vice came out with some just eclectic and electric music at that time, and with that rich voice that would just reach out and grab you every time he stepped to the microphone, he found a way to take that style that made him part country, part rock in the 70s to flat out rock and roll in the 80s. And I've always been a huge fan of one of the greatest drummers of all time, with another one of those voices that no one will ever be able to duplicate, so rich and full of power, Don Henley. What a pair they were. And the great thing about them, watching documentary after documentary about them, they always didn't get along. And let's face it, as much as we would like to believe that families always get along, look, it just doesn't happen that way. But the great thing about families, when it's time to gather and to support, that's what they do. And that's what the Eagles, I believe, have always done. I'm grateful for their music, more importantly, to the point where I know now, years from now, whenever I need some Eagles to soar into my life, there'll always be the ability to listen to the music of that historic American band and the unmistakable voice of Glenn Frey. Good night from the Pratte Pack Gym.